We've just got our first delivery of the new MSI Wind atom-based UMPCs, so I thought it might be worth talking you through as we get one out of the box. It comes in a very nice brown outer container. Inside we have a inner box containing the notebook and a, let's call it, functional case in very nice leather effect. Opening the box itself, we've got the UMPC, preloaded in this case with Windows XP Home, battery, reminiscent of the Ubiquio 701, 703 batteries or similar size laptop batteries we've seen before. Fits quite easily onto the unit. See if there's any charge. Yep, seems to have shipped charged. AC adapter. With a cloverleaf connector. So, the AC adapter's plugged in now. Do the first time boot up. I really like the look of this device. It's got a very nice finish. Just pull this protector off the cover, maybe you'll be able to see it on the video. It's got a kind of pearlescent feel to the plastic, and the plastic itself feels very high quality. It's not cheap by any stretch of the imagination. Inside the plastic's got a matte sandblasted finish to it. Feels like it'd be very durable. The whole thing feels well built and robust. Waiting for it to boot. But in the meantime, if I try and type a few things on the keyboard, yeah, that's a really nice keyboard. I would say maybe 65–70% of full size. My hands are pretty big, as well as very hairy, and you can see the keyboard's a pretty decent size, maybe a 10-inch screen, I'm guessing, and a great depth of colour there. I don't know if the camera's picking that up, but the colour on the screen is really very good indeed. The unit weighs really very little at all. I would say it weighs little more than an OQO Model 2 with an extended battery attached. Yeah, really very good indeed. While we wait for that to boot up, it's probably worth comparing it with one of the other atom-based UMPCs. This is the GIGABYTE M528. Not a device that's available in volume yet. Of course, the Wind is also only just starting to become available and in fairly limited quantities at the moment. This device is expected to be released at the end of September. It's much more of a UMPC style format with a thumb keyboard rather than a finger typing keyboard. It's got a slider mechanism, front and back facing cameras, really quite nice, and a touch screen. I like the stylus. Rather than running XP as the Wind that I just shown you, this is using a version of Linux with a strange user interface, but not an unpleasant user interface, just one I've never seen. Plastic. This is a pre-release device, as you can tell. Seems to respond quite well to a thumb, but so, billiards. Ships with a billiards game. Quite clever. I'm sure there's a set of instructions in there somewhere. As I say, pre-production, But the hardware looks quite impressive, and it's apparent that the Intel-based devices, the Intel Atom-based devices, are going to be very, very competitive, both in terms of price and in terms of feature set. They seem to be very small. From my experience playing with the GIGABYTE device, the battery life is extremely good, even though the batteries themselves are quite small on both of these two devices. And the people who are manufacturing both this GIGABYTE device and the MSI device seem to have taken a great deal of care in producing a really high quality product. When you look at the price, the MSI device is selling for around £310 in the UK, excluding VAT. That's a real breakthrough price point for such a fully featured laptop loaded with Windows. In a Linux variation, you should be able to get the device for even less. Both devices have Wi-Fi. The MSI device has a full-size SD card slot. The GIGABYTE device has a micro SD card slot. The MSI device has a 2.5-inch hard disk drive, whereas the GIGABYTE device only has a standard flash storage of about 4 gigabytes. All in all, I'm very impressed with both of them. I'm looking forward to seeing more Atom-based devices coming out in due course. Looking at the external connectivity available on this device, on the right hand side we have a standard Ethernet port, VGA out, headphone and microphone sockets, an SD card slot, which looks huge on the side of this very small device, but trust me, that is an SD card slot, a standard female A USB port, and then on the other side 2 more USB ports and a Kensington lock hole, which I think will come in quite useful for a device this small and this portable. That's a pretty comprehensive set of connectivity for a device of this size, and of course the power adapter plugs in here also. On the GIGABYTE device we have micro SD slot and a mini SD slot and a mini USB female, scroll buttons, and then a standard USB-A female port covered with one of these very nice cover plates, headphone socket, and then on the bottom power socket and a microphone that's built in on this device. Front facing camera 1.3 megapixel and a rear facing camera 3 megapixel. So this really is quite a convenient mobile device. No OQA. Okay, so having booted Windows XP, you've got a much better idea as to the quality of the screen. I think the screen on this device is as good as I've seen on any UMPC. Currently we're running Windows XP, so if I look at the screen properties, it's running on 1024 by 600, which appears to be the native resolution, and I think it's got great colour depth. That seems a very good resolution for a screen of this size. Obviously that enables it to run full HD movies if you want to use this as a media player, and at this kind of a price it's very competitive to use it in that way. Going quickly into the hard drive. I've forgotten how to use XP. You've got I'm guessing that's a 40 gig hard drive with about 31.5 gigabytes of free space as the thing's installed currently. Obviously Wi-Fi now starting to get itself connected. It's really a very fully featured, highly functional device. It appears to respond very quickly. Obviously we've not got any software loaded on this yet, and this is a customer's device that's going to be going out pretty soon, so I'm not going to load any software up on it just yet. But it appears to me to be a very performant system. It's running really very fast indeed, actually. I'm very impressed. In fact, I'm so impressed I think I'm going to buy one.